So yeah, this is this Oculus Quest Tennis. Let's check this video out for a second. Video quality is pretty bad. This is not like an official video, but look at, you can see this guy is basically in a full court tennis court here, and then the other guy across the way is kind of more in a living room setup. And so the idea here is that the game can basically scale to whatever kind of size you have. If you happen to live in a high school gymnasium and you want to have a full court tennis game, you can apparently do it with Oculus Quest Tennis. We don't know what the official name of this is. We've heard some talk. It's kind of like a Nintendo Wii tennis game, basically. And this is the dream. This is the dream. I've talked about this dream. In fact, on my actual show, I'm going to go ahead and turn down the sound here because we don't really have much sound going on with that. But on my actual show, did I not tell you guys on one of my episodes, didn't I say that within about 5 to 6 years, we will be able to recreate perfectly. We will be able to recreate perfectly a simulation of being at Wimbledon. And, you know, perfectly, okay, I might be going a bit overboard there. But what I'm talking about is visually, I think we're going to be able to recreate Wimbledon, all right? Because you're talking about one other tennis guy running around. You're talking about a couple of little kids running around and grabbing the balls. You're talking about the referee guy that's judging whether the balls are in and out. And you're talking about a court. You're not talking about a million polygons. So I think we're going to be able to get to damn near photorealism in tennis, and then physically being able to move around, actually running from side to side, scrambling over here, running up, running back, you know, hitting things, doing all of that. Now you're definitely going to need to have very high ceilings for something like this if you really want to do this. But I was talking about within the next 5 to 6 years, we're going to be able to simulate nearly perfectly the sport of tennis. And this is already going in that direction. Now, this isn't going to be perfect, but it's already headed in that direction. How awesome is that? And Crunchy says, I can't wait till people are using up public tennis courts for VR tennis. That would be pretty freaking hilarious. Imagine some dystopian future where you're driving by the park, right? You're driving by a park. This would be a great Black Mirror episode. Crunchy, you've got a great idea here. This is a great Black Mirror episode. Okay, imagine this scene. You're driving by your typical park. You're looking at a tennis court that's in a park. You see people with VR headsets and tennis rackets, but there's no balls anywhere. You drive a little bit further down. You see a basketball court, and everybody is playing basketball with an imaginary basketball. They're all wearing VR headsets, and they're on a basketball court. And kids are on the little playground swinging around, and they all have VR headsets as well. Welcome to the dystopian future of 20 years from now. It is going to be bonkers. That is a Black Mirror episode that practically writes itself. So we got to see that in the future. But I tried to check it out in my Go Chevy. So I did try. Today, I did not do that. Today, lots of things going on this morning. It was a mad scramble. I missed most of John Carmack's keynote. I saw some of it, and oh my god, dude is just such a cool dude. He is such a cool dude, and he's working on his guns. Did you guys notice that? Sun's out, guns out for our boy John Carmack. He is really working on those guns. But yeah, I did not get to see his whole talk today, so that is unfortunate. I'll have to check it out a little bit later. Okay, so let's go back to chat again. Now, on the Snap 1, the strategy to prioritize Quest over Rift 2 makes a lot of sense in the context of needing to get a minimum of 10 million users on a platform to make it self-sustaining and profitable to content makers. Yeah, this is something that Zuckerberg spoke to yesterday. He said two of the biggest problems. He was talking about this 10 million number. He basically feels that when you hit that 10 million number on each individual platform, so that means you need 10 million people on PlayStation VR. You need 10 million people in HTC Vive, you know, on Steam. And I'm not talking about 10 million people on Steam in general. We got way more than that. But I'm talking about 10 million people on Steam that are regular VR players. 10 million people on the Oculus Rift that are regular VR players. He's saying you got to hit this 10 million mark, and if you hit the 10 million mark, then other little indie companies can survive. They can make it. Now, Bullet Ape says, wait a minute here. We had 10 million people on the Wii U, and that didn't help a damn thing. But remember, Wii U is a little bit of a different proposition because Wii U is a physical product that was sold in stores, and it's a little bit of a different kind of a situation there as far as Wii U. But yeah, it's an interesting comparison. And Andy Sky coming in with the bad news. I believe it was it Engadget or somebody has confirmed it is a Snapdragon 835. So we are not getting a Snapdragon 845. That is unfortunate. The 835 is definitely good. I don't know how they're getting the graphics to look so close. And so speaking of that Snapdragon, speaking of the Oculus Quest, and speaking of porting games over to the Oculus Quest from the Rift, let's take a look at some comparison pictures. Now, this is Dead and Buried. So here's some pictures. Now, it says Rift on left side, Oculus Quest on the right, 700,000 polygons going down to 75,000. Here's the comparison with not as much of a dramatic difference there. You see the gun on the Rift. You see the gun on the Quest, 5 textures, 1 textures. You look at the piano over there, 3 textures, 2,200 polygons, 1 texture, 670 polygons. You look at the bad guy there, 4 textures, 4,300 polygons. So there's a difference here, but when you look at these A/B comparisons, it's not really a major night and day difference. So I can really see people, they put on the Oculus Quest, they get into some of these experiences, and sure, if you take a minute out, if you pause, if you're looking closely at your gun, if you're looking at the table, if you're looking at the chairs, if you have time to sit there and look at that piano, you might notice that there's 2 less textures. You might notice that it has nearly 1/4 the amount of polygons, but that's if you're paused and you're taking your time and you're looking at it. If you're actually in the game and actually playing a game, and those Oculus Rift hands look better on the Quest over there than they do, and look at that green background on the Quest, that looks pretty vibrant and clean. So Dead and Buried is not suffering a tremendous amount. How are they squeezing all of that onto a Snapdragon 835? I have no freaking idea, because I expected this kind of situation with the Snapdragon 845, not the 835. But, you know, so that's kind of our comparison pictures there. Okay, this is the video right here. This is one of a number of different videos that are floating out there about this. And so you can see people, they're hiding behind real physical barriers. You can see how the physical barriers are marked in a certain way so that this can kind of track everything. And then you're getting a sample. There's video right there of what's going on Dead and Buried. You can see the textures are a lot more simplistic than they are in the full game of Dead and Buried. And I heard some mixed impressions about this. Like, some people said it was like a total game changer. This is like incredibly next level. And then other people were like, this isn't ready for prime time. This one guy in particular was saying, although it was cool that they could do this, that it isn't really ready for prime time, that it's not really ready to do this yet. And they had to keep charging up the headsets. We also know they've got different color Oculus Quest headsets. We see a guy over there with kind of a purplish color. I think in another video I saw a guy with an orange one. So that is Dead and Buried. Okay, Apache Entertainment. He was there at Oculus Connect 5, and he says that he saw them swap every 3 hours or so. If the battery really lasts 3 hours, that would be pretty freaking awesome. And one of the unfortunate things about the Quest design, and we can get into some of the downers about the Quest design, I really feel if you're going to have a standalone headset, wouldn't it be nice if somewhere on the headset there was a slot where you could pop the battery out? where the battery is like in some kind of a cartridge that could be popped out of the headset. And therefore, you could have multiple extra batteries ready to go and hot swap capability, hot swapping the batteries for another battery. Now, as far as we know, Quest is not like that. You're going to have to take this thing off. You're going to have to recharge it. Sure, you could maybe run a cord to it, but good luck trying to play that tennis game running around while you're also charging up the headset at the same time. But a hot swappable battery would have been super awesome. Of course, that adds to the cost. It changes the design. It changes the ergonomical arrangement of it and all of that. So super interesting, super interesting. Lots of stuff to get into as far as that. Wireless is mission critical, in my opinion. One of the things I said yesterday in response to somebody left a comment on the YouTube video, it might have been like VR Spry Guy or somebody left a comment, and one of the things I said is I honestly believe, I do believe that the Oculus Quest is kind of like the first VR headset that we have right now. This is the first VR headset, in my opinion. And yeah, look, I know we have VR headsets. We've already had plenty of VR headsets, but this is like the real beginning of modern day VR, in my opinion, because the cords have got to go. The cords have got to just get the hell out of Dodge. I don't believe that VR is ever going mainstream with a goddamn cord. And I know all of you out there, you're high-end gamers, like MameFan. MameFan is a high-end gamer. He doesn't give a damn about wireless. He wants that super high-end experience. He wants photorealism. And I know a lot of you guys are like that. I'm like that too. I want that photorealism. I want to get lost in a world. But you're lost in a world for a couple of minutes and then the freaking cord yanks on your ass and now you're not lost in the world anymore. We got to cut the goddamn cord. Now, one of the other things I'll say though in regards to this headset, I think there are some mistakes that, well, I don't know if it's a mistake. It might be a pricing situation, but I think there's a couple of minor mistakes that are going on here. Here's one of the mistakes I think we have. No hand tracking that I know of. There is no built-in leap motion style hand tracking, which I think is a major freaking mistake by Oculus. And here's why I'm going to tell you that it's a mistake. Now, I will caveat this. Here's a caveat. Who knows if it could go into a hand tracking mode with those 4 cameras that are there. That it has the 4 sensors. Maybe it could go into a hand tracking mode. But I really think there should be hand tracking. Now, why do I give a damn about hand tracking? I'm going to tell you exactly why. Because the biggest impediment to widespread mass adoption of VR, in my opinion, is friction. It is all about the F word, friction. And so if you have an Oculus Quest headset, you can just grab that thing on, and if it had hand tracking, if it could sense your hands and do hand tracking, you could grab that Quest headset, put it on, and you could immediately start selecting things in menus, watching videos, doing simple interactions, basically everything that you could possibly do outside of playing an intense VR game. You could actually be playing less intense VR games if you have this hand tracking. So I really think hand tracking is it's a friction thing, and the controllers are great. Now, in chat, Cyan VR says, wait a minute, I thought they hinted at hand tracking in the presentation yesterday. No? Well, they did have that thing with the keyboard and the AHA video, and so, yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of confused how all of this is going to work, but what I'm talking about from a hand tracking standpoint, my other point is this. Okay, so the VR arcade scenario, right? This would be huge in VR arcades. The whole Dead and Buried, the arena scale. This is breakthrough, right? Multiple people in the same event doing all kinds of stuff. But what I imagine in an awesome next level VR arcade experience is you have the headset on, it's tracking your hands, you don't have a controller. And the reason you don't have a controller is because in the VR arcade experience, they're going to have a physical gun made out of plastic or whatever that's going to be tracked. You pick up the gun, you grab a lever, you push a button, you turn a dial, you pull down a lever, you move switches around, you grab this thing and you stack it on here. Physical things that you're interacting with to buy you into that experience so much more. You're using your real freaking hands. You see your real freaking hands. They're tracked. You're doing it. Now, I'm not saying that Oculus Quest absolutely doesn't have this, but I don't know that it does. I don't know that there's hand tracking there. And the point I'm making here is the second that the Oculus Quest is released, it is locked the fuck in. It is done. The second they start manufacturing 10,000 of these things a month on their assembly lines, that's it. It is what it is. Somebody in chat yesterday was saying, hey, you could put a hand tracking thing on the Go and you could add another controller or you could add some little add-ons. Don't work. Add-ons don't work. We know that they don't work. Knuckles. No, but add-ons don't work, right? So I'll just go ahead and throw on a rando trailer, completely random. Like totally random. This trailer right here is totally random. Just happens to be Space Junkies, baby. Yeah, I finally played Space Junkies a little bit last night. Barely touched it though. I barely touched it. What happened is I had deleted Space Junkies. Somehow I downloaded it a long the very first time I tried Space Junkies, when I first tried to play it, and it says you need to add Uplay, and that's when I went into my whole rant, right? So I don't remember when all of that happened, but way back when that happened, I deleted Space Junkies. And then so I got a code for this closed beta that's going on right now, right? And I threw it into my Oculus and everything, and it was like updating Space Junkies, and it kept going through this loop. Basically, to make a long story short, I needed to delete everything Space Junkies, completely re-download it, so I was having a bit of a problem there. So I got into this at the very, very, very end, like the very end of the night, and I played a bit of this, and you know what? It does feel really good. Space Junkies has a good feel. I got my ass whooped, though. I was in multiplayer with a couple of other guys, and I kept getting killed. The number one problem I was having with Space Junkies, so you get this shotgun, right? And you have to take your other hand and grab the front part of the shotgun and pump it so you can get your shotgun action on. And then, like, I think after each shot, you got to pump it. And I was having problems where the game, I don't know, maybe because of my 970 and stuff, like the game was kind of having some little hitching things, and I'd be trying to reload my shotgun, and then I end up getting killed. And I'm like, man, that's not fair. I was trying to reload my shotgun. It didn't work. You know, I didn't know what happened, so I died a hell of a lot. But I'm definitely going to play some more Space Junkies. It does feel really good. Like all of the movement options, everything you're doing in Space Junkies, it feels good. It works great. And the graphics of the different settings are really nice as well, too. So I did finally tried Space Junkies. So that is for Phil Yarn and some of the others that are like, dude, Anthony, when are you going to finally try Space Junkies? I did finally try it. So that is Space Junkies. So once again, everybody, definitely check out the website if you get an opportunity. Of course, subscribe to our channel, like the videos. That helps. Tell somebody about the channel. Tell somebody about our videos. That always helps as well. And of course, I will see everybody tomorrow at 11 a.m. Pacific time. See you guys then. Have a great Thursday. Take it easy. Later.